Hello everyone. In this video today we'll be discussing about the recent upcoming migration strategy changes announced by the Australian government and how these changes are going to be affecting different individuals, what are going to be the timelines for the implementation of these changes, and moreover, if you are planning to come to Australia to study, what sort of steps you need to take so that you could plan your journey accordingly so that you are not affected with these changes. So prior to jumping into the recent changes or what government is aiming at, let's discuss about the root cause of this. So the major issue the Australian government is facing is the housing and the higher cost of living. And this is what they are aiming to control by reducing the net migration. If you look at the net migration in the last financial year, that has been more than 500,000. And what they're aiming as in the next 2 years, they are looking to control down by almost 50%. So they are aiming to reduce that to 250,000 from 500,000, which is a very sharp and a significant drop when you look at what they have got in the last financial year. But when you compare it to the pre-COVID data, it was 241,000 in 2018-19 financial year, and in the 2019-2020 it was 191,000. And why it was 191,000? Because in the later half the borders were closed and there was no travel movement, so that reduced the numbers. But overall, it was always been around 200 or 250,000 approximately in that bracket. But Australian government is the one who has opened the floodgates and got that many numbers in the last financial year, and now they want to control the situation, and this is why they believe that international students are the ones, and they're specifically targeting those who are using the student visa program or misusing the student visa program to continue their stay and not studying. So basically they are intending to target those students who are continuing to work over here but not to study, and moreover who are switching from one course to another or from one visa to another to maintain their stay. So they are specifically aiming for those students. So if you are studying or a holder of a student visa, you should not be worried, or you won't be affected with these changes. The only thing you need to be mindful of is that you continue with your studies and maintain your attendance. You don't be affected. But if you are the one who hasn't studied in the past and who hasn't been attending the schools, your enrollments were cancelled, then yes, I think you should get serious and look at these things so that, yes, these changes would be more applicable in your case if you were not attending the school. So this is what you need to be prepared accordingly, and how they're going to control it. Basically what they're aiming at is that they would first of all be increasing the English requirement from 5.5 to 6. So in certain courses, this requirement always used to be the case for the masters or for the undergrad. So that hasn't changed. It has been changed with the vocational courses where the English requirement was less. So they have increased to 5.5 to 6 now. And moreover, what they are aiming at is that they have introduced a new student visa program under the new GST test, where they're going to be assessing every student under that. And moreover, Australian government has invested almost 19 million towards that, so that they could be aiming at those students who should not be using the student visa program to maintain their stay. So this is very important. And moreover, if you're a holder of a different visa, for instance, graduate visa, so specifically they do not want that you can apply for a student visa from a graduate visa, so you'll be restricted from that. But the thing is, when it's going to be implemented, so there is no certain or definite date given by the Australian government. So what they have only mentioned in their announcement is that that's going to be early next year. So if your visa is expiring soon, or you are a holder of a different visa, you should plan your visa journey accordingly so that you are not impacted with these changes. This is very crucial. And moreover, if you are planning to come to Australia for the first time, be mindful of opt for the studies which you can seek the employment. Do not think that I would go for this course and switch over from one to this. This is what they're trying to stop, so that you can't do the hip hop or hop from one course to the another. So this is the target of the government, and they want those kind of students who are using this pathway. So be mindful that opt for the studies where you can get the visa, you can work in that sector, and you can down the track you can be eligible for the PR. So on a broader spectrum, I would say Australian government or everyone realizes the contribution of the migrants, and especially we have got a recent incident where we could relate during the COVID pandemic that how much contribution migrants have contributed towards the Australian economy by working when there were shortage of skilled workers in every place. So they do understand, but on the other hand, they're aiming to cut down on those sort of a minority of the proportion who's just using the student visa program to maintain their stay. But do not take this news as a depressing, or just don't be worried. Please continue with your studies. You won't be affected. You will still be eligible for the graduate visas. But yes, there are certain changes regarding the graduate visa we'll be covering in the other videos, because those would be specifically regarding the graduate visa. But what I would say is that if you're a holder of a graduate visa, you may be barred from applying from student visa, but when, just wait for the announcements. So this is where you need to be mindful of it. Otherwise, continue with your studies, but they have reduced the age from 50 to 35 years. This is a very unexpected, or wasn't expecting at all that they would be targeting the graduate visa, because eventually no one was eligible if age was, this was the only positive thing even for the ones who were studying over here, that they could continue with their studies and be eligible to gain some employment. But now they have reduced. So specifically, you could see the intention behind that. They are aiming at only the skilled workforce who could be ready to work in Australia and contribute, instead of just maintaining their ongoing stay. They'll be reducing the time frame, but we'll be discussing about the 485s in a different video so that we don't confuse the student ones. So again, to cover up in a nutshell, I would say if you're a holder of a student visa and you're continuing, you won't be impacted with any of these changes. The only thing is continue with your studies, maintain your stay, maintain your studies so that you could finish your studies and be eligible for the PR. Wish you all the very best, and get in touch if you have got any query. We'll be happy to assist, and we'll be keeping on you updated regarding the upcoming changes. So just like our page so that we could post you for further.